What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and in this one we go over what offensive lineman Josh Priebe said about Jack Tuttle's impact on the offense, plus their bye-week balance, areas for improvement, and he also previews the upcoming game against Illinois. We also talk about the future of the Michigan football program with revenue sharing. Athletic Director Warde Manuel talked about how they can increase revenue, also what Michigan must do with their roster for the future. And we also got some big recruiting news on a lot of flip targets, including some newly offered 2025 and 2026 targets. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so the first thing I did want to talk about in this video is what offensive lineman Josh Priebe said as he talked with the media about the offensive line, Jack Tuttle's impact on the offense, and also the upcoming game against Illinois. Now, he talked about Jack Tuttle providing a burst to the Michigan offense. He said, he didn't practice a ton in the spring, but obviously he's always in the building. He's always around watching tape and stuff, so guys feel comfortable around him, and he's one of those guys who's a natural leader. He said when he got in the game, he was super calm in the huddle, and everyone just kind of took a deep breath a little bit, and everyone was confident in him. He said, I think it was pretty evident when he came in. I think we even had a little bit of a burst, and obviously they look to continue that against Illinois. He also talked about the bye week balance. He did say, you have to try and get your body back a little bit, but I said at the same time, we as a team went back to focusing on the fundamentals, very basic, even day one stuff, because you have the opportunity to do those things because you obviously don't have to play a game that week. And he did say off the field, guys were in town. We were all kind of hanging out together this weekend, still trying to continue to build that chemistry, that team chemistry. And then he also discussed his own areas for improvement. He said he just wants to see more consistency, eliminating those 2, 3, 4 plays of the game that have negative outcomes, and really trying to hone in on the details in the pass game and the run game. And then talking about Illinois coming up, he did come from Northwestern, so it was a big rivalry, and he said that was always a really big game for us. They're always going to be a tough, physical team, very consistent, playing at their house. We know it's going to be packed, good environment, so excited for that challenge again. And he said we've taken this bye week, and yes, our backs are against the wall, but that's only more motivation for what we want to do. That's what Josh Priebe had to say about Jack Tuttle and the offense, the bye week, and also the upcoming game against Illinois. Michigan will be taking them on the road, and that's going to be a physical game. I know Illinois is going to give everything they have towards Michigan because they really want to beat us, especially after it being such a close game in 2022 as well. But next thing I did want to talk about is some revenue sharing, as obviously schools will be allowed to pay student athletes once the NCAA settlement goes into effect at the beginning of the 2025 and 2026 academic year. Now, there is going to be a cap on how much you can pay student athletes with revenue sharing, but obviously Michigan, they do plan on paying that cap and as much as they can. But Warde Manuel, Michigan's AD, was on the Conquering Heroes podcast with John Jansen, and he said, we're going to pay our student athletes more money. Our budget is going to grow, but he did say it means we're going to have to look at new revenue streams, look at our expenses, making sure we control our expenses. Obviously he said the goal is to continue for our teams to perform at a championship level, and Manuel did say that Michigan will begin surveying fans about how the athletic department can increase revenue to offset the expenditure created by revenue sharing. He said there's a lot of things we've left on the table, and among them is advertising in the big house. He said there's no commitment to doing it, but one of those things that stands out is in our stadium, in Michigan Stadium, we have prided ourselves. We've had a history of no signage, no advertising in Michigan Stadium. So, he said, what do you like to see us develop revenue streams that would support our student athletes? Is it, ticket price increases? Is it through corporate sponsorship? Is it through looking at other premium options that others have? Those kind of things. But, he said we're constantly trying to look at and elevate what our fans want, what they've talked to us about, and what their interests are. So it does sound like there are looking at other options to increase revenue for revenue sharing for the student athletes. So Michigan definitely, this is their chance to really fill in the gap that they are kind of missing out on with NIL, because we've talked about it before. They have made a lot of progress in the NIL landscape. However, they are definitely a ways behind a lot of teams right now, and it's obviously shown in the past couple recruiting classes now. So revenue sharing should help Michigan a lot, and we could see some changes now, like seeing signage or sponsorships in the big house, anything to create more revenue for revenue sharing for student athletes. So let me know what you guys think about that. Now, it is actually going to be pretty interesting here for the future of this Michigan football program, especially, even after this season. Obviously, Michigan has taken what appears to be a step back in performance from last season. But even with losing so many players and coaches, they're going to be losing a lot of talented top NFL draft prospects on this team this season. So the question becomes, how will Sharon Moore and this football program look next season, even after losing more talented players? Sharon Moore did talk about his general manager, Sean McGee, which has been his task to work behind the scenes in the era of, free agency. And Sharon Moore said, he's done a great job. This is a different era of football, and you've got to have forward thinking of what you're doing. We are compiling names and data not only of college players, but high school, and trying to build it from the high school ranks to make sure we get a core foundation of that. I think we're doing a good job with this 2025 recruiting class, and we'll continue to bring in the pieces that we need to help immediately to replace and do things and sustain the success that we need to get. So he's done a really good job managing the numbers and roster. Now, next year, there will be a max of 105 allowed on rosters, including walk-ons, so that'll make it even more challenging. And Sharon Moore said, we've got to make sure that our guys are here. That's the number one group we've got to recruit. We've got to make sure they're happy mentally, physically, and spiritually. Make sure the guys here are in a good place. So, Michigan has done a good job, filling needed pieces in the transfer portal these past couple of years, but they're probably going to have to hit the transfer portal a little bit harder this offseason. So it's going to be interesting to see. I do think under Sharon Moore, recruiting will be a lot better. We've already seen it in the 2025 class, having right now 4 top 100 players compared to the past 2 recruiting classes they've had. They've only had 1 top 100 player. They're also closing in on a big 5-star out of Andrew Babalola, so they got to, continue to do that. Continue to build upon their NIL game and continue to find ways to get the talent they need to compete. But while we're talking about that, I did want to talk about some recruiting news. We've obviously talked about the 5-star offensive tackle Andrew Babalola. It appears Michigan is now in the lead with multiple predictions coming in, led by On3 Steve Wiltfong. So that was some huge news. If you guys missed that video yesterday, make sure to go ahead and watch that. But we also got some news that the 2025 3-star defensive lineman Christian Ingram dropped his top 5 list of Georgia, Kentucky, Michigan, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. So Michigan did make the top 5 for Christian Ingram, who Michigan did recently offer, and he is a riser right now in the 2025 class. Michigan has also offered the 2025 3-star Wisconsin offensive tackle commit Nolan Davenport from the state of Ohio. And according to E.J. Holland of the Wolverine, even if Michigan does get Andrew Babalola, it does appear Michigan would take Davenport as well on the offensive line. So Michigan may push there for him. Another guy Michigan is going after is another flip target, 2025 3-star defensive lineman Syracuse commit Quante Gillians, who Lou Esposito did recently just visit. It's another flip target Michigan is really going after. He is set to take a visit on October 26th for the Michigan State game. Michigan has also offered the 2026 4-star offensive tackle Jarvis Strickland from the state of Kentucky. And I told Bryce Merritt to the Michigan Insider that Coach Newsome gave me a call Friday night to let me know they liked my film and offered. He said that was enough to get me fired up about the offer because it means a lot, and it's a big time offer. And he did say he's very interested. He is planning to come on a visit for the Michigan State game, and he said they are one of the top schools now. So big news there. Michigan has a chance to really build up this 2026 class, especially with the top 100 quarterback commit out of Brady Hart. That's only going to help them build this class, but they aren't done yet in the 2025 class. They have a really good shot of cracking the top 10, especially with the commitment from a 5-star offensive tackle out of Andrew Babalola, and potentially flipping some of these recruits they're going after. But obviously they do have to, keep the recruits they have and the commits they have right now as well, because there are some schools going after some of their top commits. But so far it is looking very good for Michigan as far as recruiting goes. But with that, that's going to wrap up today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you guys go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it. And other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.